Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're back here on Offroad Outlaws once again. As you guys can see here, now we're coming back at it today. Gonna talk just a little bit about two-stroke four-wheelers or quads, whatever you want to call them, here in Offroad Outlaws. Now we currently do not have any specific, is a two-stroke four-wheeler or quad here in Offroad Outlaws, for the most part. Now this quad here, we can maybe slightly make out that it was possibly based off of a 2006 or 2005 Yamaha Blaster. The Yamaha Blasters were a 200cc two-stroke motor, and the quad looked something like this. Now Yamaha began production of the Blasters back in 1988, and their production did run all the way until 2006 when they did end up discontinuing them. Now with most two-stroke quads as well as dirt bikes, they do have an iconic pipe. Most of them are aftermarket and they are big, known as like two-stroke pipes. You very rarely see a two-stroke motor just because they don't run correctly with your little four-stroke pipe. Now with that brings me to my next note about two-stroke four-wheelers and how they would work here in Offroad Outlaws. Now, right after I get done talking about this, I do have a list of four-wheelers that we're going to talk about that could possibly end up in the game, or personally I would like to see end up in the game. Because two-stroke four-wheelers, there weren't really a wide variety to begin with, but I do have a list of a couple that are iconic, and I would love to see them in the game, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well would love to see them in the game. Sometime in the future, sooner rather than later, personally. But as long as I do see some of these two-stroke four-wheelers in the game while the game's still thriving, I'd be pretty happy. But anyways, continuing with my current note I was going on about what I would like to see on two-stroke four-wheelers, from details down to cosmetics, I guess you could say, is I'd like to be able to tell, number one, a two-stroke quad from a four-stroke quad. Now this can be done in two different ways. Now the second way I'm about to mention is something I think would be actually pretty cool. Number one, I would like two-stroke quads to have their own designated specific sound that can be on all two-stroke dirt bikes and four-wheelers if they do end up putting in dirt bikes as well, if this is all just going to be one update. Now next, something I feel like would be pretty cool is seeing the blue smoke that is iconic with most, mainly older two-stroke four-wheelers as well as dirt bikes, is the blue smoke coming out of the exhaust. For a long time, many manufacturers did kind of discontinue their line of two-stroke dirt bikes and four-wheelers just because of emissions, and apparently it's bad for the air with the smoke coming out. So really nowadays, modern two-strokes, they hardly smoke at all. But if Offroad Outlaws does decide to put any of the four-wheelers I will mention in today's video off my list, I would love to see just a little bit of smoke come out of the exhaust, a little bit of blue smoke come out as soon as you hit the gas. They do have an option currently in the game to diesel swap your vehicles, and with that will make black smoke produced from your aftermarket exhaust pipe, as in real life. So it would be pretty realistic with any of the quads on my list here. If they did end up putting in the game, I would like to see just a little bit of blue smoke coming out of the exhaust pipes. And then lastly, for cosmetics, it would be pretty cool to see your big old iconic two-stroke, big old chrome pipe, you know what I mean? I'll post a picture of it up on the screen. Now, even on most stock two-stroke quads and dirt bikes, they still are going to have the big old two-stroke pipes, but they're going to be just, maybe not big old chrome aftermarket pipes, obviously. But they're still going to be there, and you see them on like almost every two-stroke, so that's one way to indicate the difference between a two-stroke and a four-stroke is looking at the pipe. Because most two-strokes, not all of them, but a lot of them do have aftermarket big old chrome pipes on them just to show, it's two-stroke. The two-stroke I did own was a 2006 Yamaha Blaster. They did come stock as 200 cc's. Mine did have a 40 cc big bore on it, so it was 240 cc's in my Yamaha Blaster. It did have a big old chrome pipe on it. I'll post a picture of it up on the screen right there. Now, I did try to make my Yamaha Blaster in Offroad Outlaws at one point, and this was the quad I did end up using. If you guys want to see how it turned out in the end, it did look pretty realistic in the end. You guys can check out that video. Just look up DragsterTV Yamaha Blaster, find that video. As well as all my other videos regarding my Yamaha Blaster, talking about it, doing things to it, riding it. So yeah, I have a good series from when I did own the Yamaha Blaster, but since then I did trade up to a 400EX. And in my previous video talking about quads and Offroad Outlaws, that was one of the main quads I was going on about that I would love to see in Offroad Outlaws, is a '05 through '08 model 400EX, or the classic bug eye style of '99 through '04 by style on the 400EX. Either would be nice. But today we are talking about two-stroke four-wheelers. So number one on my list was the Yamaha Blaster. We kind of have that quad right here a little bit, but it's not quite exactly the same, but you can tell it was somewhat based off of it. So now I've already gone through number one on the list, which was the Yamaha Blaster 200cc's that ran through 1988 through 2006. Next up on the list is a Yamaha Banshee, which is a 350cc two-stroke motor. They ran through 1987, and they were discontinued and stopped being manufactured in 2006. Same year the Blaster was discontinued. Now these Banshees, they were just such a big hit, but they were just so dangerously fast because it was a 350cc big two-stroke motor. It was insanely quick. That they came out with the Blasters 1 year later, which was a one notch down, or maybe a couple notches down. Those Banshees are pretty quick. So they came out with the Blaster 200cc, still two-stroke, same time frame, same era, and it makes for just as much fun, if you're not looking for something extremely quick. The Yamaha Banshees, in conclusion, is definitely a quad I'd love to see sometime in the near future in Offroad Outlaws. Going on down, next on the list is the Honda TRX 250R. It was a 250cc two-stroke motor. They ran through 1986 through 1989, and that was when they were discontinued in 1989. They didn't really run that long. Ran a total of 3 years. But for the 3 years they were manufactured, they made for a lot of fun, and there's still a lot of them on the roads today, with only being manufactured for 3 years. And I'd love to get my hands on one in real life one of these years, because they do seem like a very fun four-wheeler. Now next up, because so far we've gone through two iconic two-stroke quads that were manufactured by Yamaha, and then I just went through one of the main classic Honda two-stroke four-wheelers. Next we're going to Suzuki. Now, you guys may already know what I'm about to mention, or what I'm about to say. The next one up on the list is the Suzuki Quadzilla, the LT500R. Just simple as that. 500cc two-stroke motor. They ran through 1987 through 1999, a whole 3 years. Now, even with a 500cc two-stroke motor in these things, they were just so big and weighed down and a little bit overboard that a Banshee, if tuned right, I mean, I'm not talking big bore kits or anything, but a Banshee, exhaust, air filter and stuff like that, maybe new aftermarket jets, a bit bigger jets, it can outrun a Quadzilla. So a 350 Banshee, just because it's so quick, so light, can outrun a 500cc two-stroke Quadzilla, just because the Quadzillas are heavier and stuff like that. But don't get me wrong, the 500cc two-stroke Quadzilla by Suzuki are still extremely fast. They're known as one of the fastest quads to ever be made, right up along beside the Yamaha Banshees. But anyways, going on down in the line here, the last on the list actually is, it was made by Kawasaki, is the Kawasaki Kate. And this one, because we're talking about quads and four-wheelers here, is the 4. They came in a 250cc two-stroke motor, nothing too crazy, nothing too special. They were manufactured for 4 years, started in 1984. They did announce them, and they announced that they were discontinuing them in 1988. So they did have a good run in the 4 years they were manufactured. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special about the Kate, but I know they are fun, and I know they also did make a three-wheeler model. That's why the Kawasaki Kate 4 250 on the list here, it's a Kate 4. Alright, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it right, but I'm just going to say it how it's spelled, Kate, So, they were also Kawasaki Kate 3. Same motor, same build and everything, but they were three-wheelers. Now, also talking about another two-stroke 250 motor, the Honda TRX 250R. Alrighty, guys, they also made a three-wheeler version of that, and three-wheelers were pretty popular at the time back in '86 when they did end up announcing them. through 89 when they did announce that they were discontinuing them. They were pretty popular. So they did make a three-wheeler version of both the quads there, the Kate and the 250R. So that's just a cool little add-on that I'd throw in there. But yeah, so Offroad Outlaws. All the quads I did just mention. Yamaha Blaster, Yamaha Banshee, Honda TRX 250R, Quadzilla by Suzuki, and the Kawasaki Kate 250. I'd like to see, maybe not all of them, that's a lot to ask for, but at least a couple before, the game pans out here in a couple of years. There's always going to be something bigger and better coming soon. If they do not keep the game in line, just constantly being updated. I know the updates take a lot of time, but we get them not so often is, the right way to put it. But don't get me wrong, the game's only progressing from here, and it still is a lot of fun. In today's video, I'm just going over specifically two-stroke quads, obviously, that I personally, and possibly a lot of you guys, the fans and players, would like to see here in the game. But yeah, that's it for the list. That's it for everything I just want to go over in today's video. It just popped up in my mind after I saw the comment section of my previous video about quads and Offroad Outlaws yesterday, talking about mainly new four-stroke sport ATVs I'd like to see, and a lot of you guys were saying, oh yeah, I'd love to see the Yamaha Blaster, which I also had said on the list, and of course Yamaha Banshees was a big one. So I was like thinking, I know a couple of two-stroke quads off the top of my head that I would love to see in Offroad Outlaws, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would too. So that's where today's video came from. So if you guys have any more other video ideas or anything you guys would like to see on the channel, or just any comments you would like to add in, or any quads you'd like to see in Offroad Outlaws, let me know all that down below in the comment section. It really does help me out. And if you guys did enjoy this video, leave a flat like, it really does help me out, as well as subscribe if you're new and you haven't already, and hit that little notification bell to never miss a new daily video from me. And with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you have an amazing rest, guys, day or night. And with that, I'll catch you guys very, very soon in the next one.